Ayikhule EFF Student Command, ayikhule EFF Student Command, ayikhule Siphilele Julius Malema, siphilele Mandla Mayibuye Africa Viva EFF Student Command, viva! Ngiyabonga. Thank you to the regional leadership of the EFF here in Buffalo City, to the members of the RILC that are here, and the provincial command team, the leadership of the student command, both in the branch as well as in the province and the national structures, and to all of you beautiful students of Fort Hare. Before I proceed, allow me to request, because I'm here to support specific people, and I thought that it would be important that I actually ask them to come and stand here, these candidates of the SRC. So that you see. I think the meeting is okay. So where are the ladies? Okay. Is this on? All right. Okay, comrades. Well, I'm here to ask you to vote for these people tomorrow when you cast your votes. That's what I'm here, is to ask you and request of you to put the confidence of your aspirations in their hands. They are going to be in Fort Hare what we are in Parliament. And they've got our private numbers, so every time there is an issue here, they can call us directly in Parliament. So if the Vice Chancellor eats the money here, they will tell us, and then we will talk about it in Parliament. So really, that's all I have to do tonight, is to ask you to vote for these candidates of the EFF. Thank you very much. appreciate the magnanimity of our gathering, because every time we gather, it must be a festival of ideas. In the Christian Holy Scripture, there is an important lesson about Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ is this person who walked on water, we're told, resurrected people from the dead, and also opened the blind eyes, made the deaf to hear. But he also multiplied bread, turned water into wine, and now he was facing crucifixion. And he says to his disciples, how will they know that you are my followers? How will they know that you represent the ideas that I taught? Ordinarily, we should assume that it is if, like him, they also walk on water and perform the miracles that he performed. But he doesn't say that. He doesn't say, you will be known that you are my disciples if you do miracles. He says, it will be known that you are my disciples if you love one another. Because there is nothing greater than that for any movement. We are a generation of abandoned youth. We are a generation that has been deprived of our adult love. The adults of the nation have abandoned us. Hair is one of the most important intellectual heritages of black people. It is the birthplace of a similar generation like us, who in its intellectual birth to the Pan-Africanist movement, they ensured to radicalize the liberation movement and take it to the people. They demanded in no equivocal terms for the total decolonization of our people. These men and women had shaped their consciousness and their ideas in this university. But they too were faced with a similar existential crisis, where they had been abandoned by the elders. Any society that suffers this abandoning, this rejection, shows itself in very, very peculiar ways. We know the demise of that generation. They were either killed, imprisoned, or exiled because of their ideas. A decade after they were put in that obliteration, another generation rose, which was the generation led by, again, a figure that comes not so far from here, who attended school in Alice as well. A generation of Stephen Biko. That generation was, too, a generation abandoned by the elders. And this is signified by the 1976 youth uprising. Because you must ask yourself a pragmatic parental question. When 11-year-olds 9-year-olds, 16-year-olds are the ones on the streets carrying stones, fighting against armed men and women in the military and the apartheid police. The pragmatic question is, babe kuphi abantu abadala? Why was Hector Peterson? Why did it have to be him who dies for the parents as opposed to the parents dying for the kids? And that generation too existed in the conditions where the adults had abandoned their adult responsibilities. And we are there too. We sit here, we should be youth. To be young is to postpone responsibility and to experiment until you find what you are comfortable in yourself. Find which of your multiple talents you are going to base your existence on. You're supposed to be experimenting with the assumption that there is a future waiting for you outside the door. That is what being young means. That is what being youth means. Being youth means we are all, you and I, we should be doing the things of young people. But we're busy wearing red overalls in parliament as opposed to be doing youthful things. Why? It's because the people who are supposed to be taking care of the future when we get out of here, they are not taking care of it. They are busy eating it apart. And therefore we have been disabused from our youthfulness. We've had to report on the picket lines of the struggle to reconstruct and save the future. Firstly, from the adults. Save the future from their corrupt, gluttonous, greedy hands that are busy destroying our future. That is where you and I are standing. That is what this generation, its similarities to the generation of Pan-Africanists of fought here in the 1930s and the 1940s, the pre-consciousness radicals of the 1970s. We again are in that stage in this generation where we have to take the future to our hands. There is no future waiting for you. There are no jobs waiting for you. Nobody is preparing you jobs. They are busy preparing you labor brokering deals where you're going to earn a minimum of 3,500, and you should be grateful. You must accept it. What do you expect? The leadership of this country is not preparing a future for you and I. When you walk out of here, before the existence of the EFF, there was no land waiting for you. And so when you walk out of here, where are you going? On whose land? You are going to live on the same knees that your parents and their parents have been living on before. So the first struggle, the first collective consciousness that we must all assume is to disabuse ourselves from thinking there is a future waiting for us. The unemployment rate is almost double amongst the black youth. Young black people, particularly in post-matric qualification, have no jobs. In 1996, when they adopted the macroeconomic frameworks that they called GEAR, they said to us the reason why there is high unemployment in South Africa is because there are no skills. And they said, no, if you can go to school, then we'll begin to get the jobs. But I mean, it was a crazy logic, you see. Because where were those jobs? They should have been waiting. You're supposed to say, here are the vacancies. They are not being filled because there are no skills. But we went to school, shame. We went to school to be unemployed. We went to be educated to be unemployed. To this day, the perfect answer of those who run the country, when you say, why there are no jobs? They say there are no skills. But how many young people have passed matric and they're sitting at home with their brilliant results? So let us deconstruct this properly. What is a skill? What is the skill that is needed? When you say that there are no skills, which factories need skills? Which factory and which skills do they need? No. It's not the question of skills. They are not busy opening factories so that there is lack of skills. What are they busy with? They are busy eating the future. The second perfect answer why there are high levels of unemployment, poverty, and inequality is that no, we have to attract investors. You know, the ANC, I'm sorry. When you say you are going to wait for investors to create jobs, meaning they say they are trying to do everything in their power to make sure that the investors will come. So let's interrogate this logic. The best humanitarian, morally upright man that was loved in all the four corners of the world, Nelson Mandela, presided over South Africa as a head of state for 5 years, between 1994 and 1999. Most morally upright man. Mandela didn't take his salary for the first 2 years or something. He didn't know that he was earning a salary. That's how he opened the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. It is the checks of money of his salary that he was not collecting. That's how non-corruptible he was. Most morally upright men. Did investors come? No. The most educated president with a economics master's degree from Sussex. Not from that super high school called Wits. Sussex. Okay? Proper universities. I mean, Wits is a mimic of Western universities. Must never be intimidated by Wits here. No. It's a mimic. If there's a university that needs proper decolonization, is that one? But okay, President Thabo Mbeki understood the economy, was the most educated, poetic, He stabilized the inflation. He stabilized all the important indicators for foreign direct investment to come. Did foreign direct investment come? No. You know, I promised the leadership that, you know, I mustn't talk about, you know who. Ingxaki ezakhe zininzi. Loyatata. Now, let me give you some facts. Because I can't say he was the most, you know, educated. Yeah. Now, Ubaba has been in the top 6 of the ANC since 1991. Some of you were not even born when he got in the top 6 of the ANC. He was in the top 6 of the ANC before Mbeki. And he stayed in that top 6 from 1991 until last year. I must give some credentials. But hey, the other ones don't work of 20 and everything. Served a sentence in Robben Island for 10 years. Selfless struggle. Was in a cell. When you go to Robben Island, Kgalema Motlanthe took us to Robben Island, the president Kgalema Motlanthe, and then he showed us Mandela was here, Walter Sisulu was here, Sobukwe was here, and then we and Henry Kwala, Kgang Moseneke, and Babaga Tutuzane were in this cell. So the obvious question comes, So, it is true that it was during that time that many of you got your degrees. Oh yes, oh yes. This is where we used to study, and then when what happened? Okay. So when you were studying, you know, he was a very, very talented man. When we studied, he organized Inkamu, he organized choirs, so that after we study, we sing. No, I don't mock people who didn't go to school. But if you want to run a country that has a budget of 1.2 trillion rands, and you have to preside over the distribution of that budget, and then you have to go to the G20, to the UN, and speak about 1.2 trillion rands and how much do you need, you at least have to be able to call 1.2 trillion rands. Because when you meet your other peers in the world and they close the doors and it's Zuma, Obama, Putin, Kaze, Otini, Babaka Tutuzane, Nani, Owaitata Gumbi. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying you've got a responsibility to be honest about your capabilities. Because perhaps that is how they tricked him to sell out on the death of Muammar Gaddafi and the destruction of Libya, where today restoration. Anyway, all of them, foreign direct investment still didn't come. Even the billionaire won't help it. Because nobody goes from their country to come and save you from your problems. To wait for foreign direct investment, it's a policy of low self-esteem. It's a policy of not believing in the potential of your own people. And you show me a country in the world that from the start, when it began to reconstruct itself, it depended on foreign aid. There is no such country in the world. Meantime, we've got the most abnormal banking situation in the world. Majority of the money in the banks is not linked to any properties. It means white people in South Africa keep a lot of liquid cash in the banks. Why? Because if it should be translated into a factory, when they want to go to Australia, they cannot take a factory to Australia. So they keep a lot of money in the bank. In case they have to take their bags, they just shift it to Dubai or all the types of banks or havens, tax havens like London, Switzerland, the Cayman Islands. They just move it there so they can get away. There's nobody who's coming to save you. There's nobody who's going to go from America, from Europe to come and give you a job. If they are coming here, they are coming to exploit you. They are coming to make money out of you. And if you have a government that always begs them to come and save you, it will be prepared to sell you and your skill and your hard-earned degree with 3,500. We are a generation that has got to be on its own. So it is SRC elections. Yes. We are thinking about people who are going to fight for the restoration of data projectors, that there's furniture in your university, furniture, tables and chairs, that there is Wi-Fi even in your own room, high-speed Wi-Fi. Yes, we are fighting for the NFSAS stipends to arrive. Yes, we are fighting to make sure that there is residences for postgraduate students, for first years, for everybody, comfortable rooms enough for you to have a proper space to think. Yes, we are fighting for all those things, but we are also in a generation and we have a mission that is calling on us, because after all that trouble, there's no job waiting for you out there. Because the parents, guys, America is the most powerful country in the world. It's got a lot of nuclear capabilities, a very powerful military technologically, even in terms of ground battle. It's got a big budget, huge budget. It's got investments in the many parts of the world. And they elect a 46-year-old president to preside over that. When Obama finished his term of office, he was not even 60 years old yet. Meaning he had not even qualified yet for pension. But Upper Ekaya, you must first be 60. Where are they leading at? No wonder they sleep in parliament. Because, no, I mean, age won't lie. Age doesn't lie. 60-year-olds la elokishini, they are queuing on the pension queues. It's those people who take naps during the day. No wonder every second hour they're in parliament. It's Lala Fuga. Why? We are sending old people to parliament. To do what? To sleep. But the point and the fundamental of it is this idea that there's actually no preparation of a future for you. Forget it. It's a scary state of affairs. Educated, non-educated, you meet the same fate out there. Today it's even difficult to say to people go to school, because so that what can happen? Because you are educated, you're not educated, sonke siyahlupheka. So we have to rise to the occasion. We have to rise to the occasion to fix South Africa, because nobody's coming to fix South Africa for us. There is nobody, there's no white man or woman in the world that is coming to save you from your blackness. And that's why our generational mission must be economic freedom in our lifetime. This mission of economic freedom is anchored on fundamentals of human dignity. The first of which is the land. The land must be expropriated, and it must be expropriated without compensation. Well, because there's no factory of land, you see. Nobody invented land. Nobody came with the land in the pockets when they arrived in 1652. Land must be expropriated without compensation. So let's entertain the white psyche, for instance, for a bit. So the white psyche's response to land expropriation without compensation is, oh, white genocide. How? We're talking about land expropriation without compensation. Where does UB come in? Where does it come in? You know where does it come in? Because when in their history they think of land redistribution, it has often been through forced removals, war, death, massacres, and genocide. And they think we are like them. And there won't be even a single drop of blood, because we are the children of Albert Lutuli, we are the children of Nelson Mandela, we are the children of Sobukwe. We were never raised with hatred. In any way, it's a waste of time to hate white people. We have got something more important to hate or to do with our hatred than hate white people. For what? No, save your hatred for something much more radical. White people. Let me tell you, comrades, there's nothing more stupid than white supremacy. Because I'm smart, because I'm white, that must be the stupidest invention in the world. Like, you come in the world and you think, okay, my hair is softer, I must be superior to this person. There's nothing more tragically stupid than that one. That's why the project of forgiveness is useless to a racist. Because what is the psyche of a racist? A racist, when it looks at an African, sees an animal. So when you hit at your dog and it gets on the way, you will be shocked when the dog comes and says, I forgive you. You'll be like, hi man. Because it's a dog, you don't need anything from it. You can't take a gift from a dog. A dog can move you. Because Mawishaya Inja, you are putting it at its place. You are doing a human duty to a dog. That's what the racist thinks. It's the best joke in the world that you forgave a racist. A racist? How can a racist take forgiveness from a dog? Because the racist thinks colonization was good for you. A racist thinks apartheid saved you from barbarism, from savagery, from backwardness. A racist thinks colonization was good. It took you out of superstition. It took you out of your beshu. Today you find a Bugatti. What you want? A racist asks you, this is how a racist talks to you, who developed this country? Huh? Did you have roads before? Huh? Did you even know what is a road? That's how a racist, and you think you're going to enter in a forgiveness project with a racist. It doesn't work like that. The proper approach to a racist is black consciousness. Full stop. It's not forgiveness. You don't have time to waste with a racist. You don't waste emotions. You don't waste your forgiveness. Go forgive your boyfriend. Forgive your mother. Forgive your friend. Invest. If you never know to forgive, put your forgiveness in a forgiveness bank. Don't waste it on white people and white racists. Don't. Those people cannot be affected by what they view as inferior. So what does it mean that our response to white racism is black consciousness? What is the first most important lesson of black consciousness? Is that black people, you are on your own. That's not isolationism. No, that's not isolationism. It means learn to mind your own business. That's learn to mind your own business. 2, what it means is you must fight against the usage of the color of, you must fight against the usage of the color of your skin as a means of your oppression. You must fight against the mobilization of the texture of your hair as a statement of your beauty, as a statement of the level of your intelligence. You must fight against the condition that renders you a hated, indignified people who live in permanent proximity to waste. And how is this fight going to be constituted? By self-love. So the first task of a liberator of black people is to believe in black people. So the policy of foreign direct investment, it is not rooted in a liberatory project that we understand from the generation of the Fort Hep and Africanists to those of black consciousness leaders of the 70s. It is not based on constituting an autonomous project of liberation for the dignity of black people. It must believe in the talents of blacks, and if you believe in black people, you don't wait for them or for somebody else elsewhere to save them. You tell them, save yourselves. So when we say we want the land, that's what we mean. In short, what does this land thing do? 1, we need the land because you need to have a place called home. That's the first dignity, where you bury your umbilical cord, where you bury your children's umbilical cord, a place you call home. That's the first important use of the land. You know, black people are not people, there's no history in relation to, we've never wanted, in all seriousness, we've never been obsessed with killing whites. I mean, I think about it, where do white people take this thing from, that we want to kill them? Who told them? Who said we want to kill them? We don't have bullets to waste, man. We just want our land. Bayashala, bayahamba, bayajamba. It doesn't matter, the land. The second use of the land, we want the land for human settlement. Majority of all the townships in the urban areas in South Africa, like Soweto, started out as land occupation struggles. You must know your history and never allow the enemy to determine concepts for you. The concept is land occupation, it's not land grab. Land grab is what the white people did since 1652. That's land grab. But if you check the history of land occupation struggles, not even a single one of those occupation struggles did black people actually force any white person out of the land. It is always land that has no activity and has had no activity for a number of years. And they occupy it, and the owner, often from London or from somewhere else in the city, says, no, but that's my property. They have never forced anyone out. And it is land occupation for the interest of human settlement out of land hunger. They don't want to live in the back rooms of their parents. So you must not allow the enemy to determine the concept of our revolution. Land occupation struggles have to do with humans, and that's how black people are getting land anywhere they've been. Whether you're talking Soweto, whether you're talking Kailisha, whether you're taking Kukuletu, Mdantsane, Langa, all of them have an aspect. In the proper language of government, they call it informal settlement. What do you think an informal settlement is? It means land was occupied illegally. That it was not planned. Nobody gave it to them. Otherwise, there would have been services. There would have been a division of roads. There would have been a division for pipes of water, electricity, and all those things. But they are not there. That's why it's called informal settlement. And it's called an informal settlement because it was a land occupation struggle. That's the first use of the land. The second use and the second need for the land, which is a very important aspect that particularly the people of Eastern Cape understand better than most parts of the country, is that we need land for our agricultural economic produce. Here in the Eastern Cape, there's no gold, there are no minerals. The most important thing for the Eastern Cape people is farming, is the land. So when we say we want land to produce food, they say no, black people are not interested in farming. Kanjani. How do they arrive at the fact that we are not interested in farming? Because who are the farm workers? Is it white people? No. Who's farming here in South Africa? So how are they saying that we are not interested? Maybe they are talking about Terralakota, I don't know. If Terralakota is not interested in farming, Makasi can transform farm. It is estimated that about 60% of the food in the shelves in South Africa comes from outside. So if Donald Trump is successful to provoke Russia enough on the question of Syria, and there is a world war, South Africa, as far as it is, even if that war doesn't come here, we're going to fill it with the food. Because in less than 3 months, there won't be food on the shelves. Because we're not producing our own food. We don't have food sovereignty. So I want you to live tonight with what we call land consciousness. When you get in a shop and you buy food, you must always ask yourself, who produced it? Why aren't we producing it ourselves? You know why? Because the ANC is waiting for a foreign direct investor. And when they say foreign direct investor, they don't mean Zimbabweans. They don't mean Nigerians. They don't mean Tanzanians. They mean white people from Europe. That's why Ramaphosa was with the Queen last week to go ask for investment. Instead of going to fetch our gold on the Queen's crown, called the African, he's built the African. So, the third use of the land, we want the land because of what lies beneath the land. The first thing that lies beneath the land is our ancestors. Please. Because you people, if you die here, I tell you know, you are going to be those people of landless ghosts. A ghost roaming around without land. You'll be a ghost here. City Lara Moko, Pepi, Lala Motolo, Linda Mkondo, Pudelo, they're going to trouble us. So the first thing is that under the soil there, that's our religion, us. Our religion is not in the sky. So you don't hear me because you don't know who you are. I can see this. You have not understood the religiosity that informs your Africanness. You have not captured it. You're still captured by sky religions. Clouds. You are still captured by people who are coming riding on a cloud to save you. That is where we're going to bury you. We're going to bury you in there. Even in the scripture it's like that. It's dust to dust. We need the land because we must return to it. So if we don't have land, where are we going to return? But the other important aspect are the minerals beneath the soil. The gold, the platinum, the coal. All those minerals beneath the soil belong to the people. They belong to us. We want the land. And that brings me to the second point, and the second aspect of economic emancipation is that all these mines need to work for the people. They need to work for the people. And the aspect of it, comrades, lies in industrial development. There is no banks. The banks of South Africa don't believe in black talent. There's no loan waiting for you out there for your brilliant business ideas. Even if Mbuyiseni, they just go to parliament and make pay back the money. Me, I'm going to be a business person with my business plan. There's no loan waiting for black people out there. There's no investor waiting to make you a black, excellent, talented woman. No, there isn't. The people who own money, they'll give you crumbs that fall from the master's table, often so that you work for them. There's no bank waiting to give you an investment to your entrepreneurial ideas. So even if we were to do entrepreneurial training here, I know motivational speakers who are often given a script by white monopoly capital what to say. They come and they tell us, no, we just have to be entrepreneurial and we will create. The matter of creating jobs is money. Is money. So let's go back to the skills argument. Do you know that majority of the products that we use every day are produced by people who don't even have matric? For example, the television sets. If you have never had a TV in your life, whether at home or in your residence, where you are now, or you've never went to watch it, Estradin Sagini in a pub, if there's no TV where you come from, just raise your hand. No problem, maybe base corner. You see, 1 or 2 hands. So there are about 50-something million television sets being produced and sold in the South African market every year. Where do they come from? Who doesn't have a cell phone in here? You see? 1, 2, 3, 4. Even my grandmother, she's 86. Chief, my grandmother has a cell phone. So I think you must organize a cell phone tomorrow. Where is the factory of cell phones? Okay, maybe the television and the cell phone seem complex, but the people who are sitting in the assembly lines, assembling the television sets, assembling the cell phones, majority of them don't even have matric. They were trained in the apprenticeships programs of those factories. Live. Maybe cell phone is difficult. When you get at home, before you even go to the bathroom and the bedroom, in the kitchen only, teaspoon made in China, Vasco made in China, Ndishi made in China. If you don't believe me, lift up the chair you are sitting on now. So when we say economy, comrades, we're not talking about some complex investment intelligent idea that must come from somewhere. We are saying, give us the opportunity to produce the things that we consume. That's what we are saying. So massive industrial development has to do with us taking over majority of the things that we consume and make sure that we produce them here at home, particularly those that we have a comparative advantage on from the rest of the world. This material of plastic, this material of Tupperware, comes from here in South Africa. It's produced in Sasol. It goes to China and they come sell it back to us as a chair. As buttons. You see these buttons on your jersey? They're made with that material. The frame of your glasses, from that material. Isitsha sase-res, lapho bakufela ngakhona, that material. Isitsha sasemncwabeni, that material. But it goes to China and it comes back here. So these comrades don't want to create jobs. That's what it means. They don't want to create jobs. When we say massive industrial development, that is what we mean. So if white people want to do it, if white people want to open those factories will open because they are the ones that have got the money. This is why nationalization of banks is important, because we want to have a decision-making contribution as to the direction and the destination of where the investments are going. We live in an age of the 4th industrial revolution, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology. I mean, they're talking about sex dolls, for instance. I think this sex dolls question is rather scary. I don't know what you think. People are going to be having sex with dolls here. A doll that looks like a Mbuyiseni. From the face. That's the 4th industrial revolution. You can have your Beyonce there in the bedroom there. You can even program her to do all the single ladies. All the single ladies. Up and down. And then afterwards you're like, yeah. Now? That's what the 4th industrial revolution possibilities are presenting, is that we're going to have sex dolls. And what artificial intelligence really means is that this doll can actually hold an argument with you. It is self-sufficient, it is programmed, it can charge itself, it no longer needs your tutorial, it no longer needs your supervision. It can operate itself. And that's where they say it might substitute accountants, it might substitute lawyers, because it might argue the law better. That's the prediction in relation to the fourth industrial revolution. If you were to ask a basic question to the South African government today, that's where the industry is. What is our policy on the fourth industrial revolution? Foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment is a policy of not believing in black talent. Stop looking for our help and our hope outside. Have confidence in black people. Believe in the potentiality of black people. Your white counterparts, when they go out of the university, they are waiting for investments where they experiment until they get it and then become CEO. And then you are weighted by 3,500 minimum wage of Cyril Ramaphosa. That's what's waiting for you out there at the door. So, you think we're being disrespectful in Parliament? You think we're crazy? We are burning because we know that if we don't fight the way we do, it will be the end. It will be the end. So we've got a responsibility. We've got a collective consciousness project. We've got a collective generational mission. I mean, people think we want to go back to the ANC. I mean, for what?
Amen.
I mean, we're in charge, Mjana. I mean, look. Go back to the ANC. The ANC is coming closer to us. Why would we go back to them? It means we are doing the right thing. It means we are. So we've got to keep doing. We got to keep at it. Because if they're beginning to agree with us, it means so we don't retreat and say, no, let's go back. Go back to who? By years ago now. Whose motion did Zuma run away from in Parliament? Whose motion was land expropriation without compensation as a constitutional amendment? And you're telling me I'm going back to the ANC? No, that's the ANC coming this way to the 7 cardinal pillars. Asindawo, asijiki. This is our generational mission. Economic freedom is a movement. You must look at the continent. There is no young person in the continent who is not inspired by what you guys are doing here in South Africa. When I say the adults have abandoned us, when I say we are a generation as it was with the Pan-Africanists of fought here, with the consciousness radicals of SASO, we are like them. Our elders have abandoned the responsibility to build a future. They are destroying it. They are not building it. They are busy squabbling over it. They are not building it. They are not selfless about it. I mean, a practical example is, what is a 75-year-old man doing building a swimming pool for 2 million? Okay, just imagine Makumalo, Lubabaga Tutuzani, Sumit's Koshu, today, Siyotube. They are not taking care of nobody's future. They're not taking care of. If I give your grandmother, who is 75 now, I give her 2,000, the first thing that she asks herself is, do my grandchildren have a jersey in the approaching winter of the Eastern Cape? The first thing they ask themselves is, do you have the shoes to go to school and cross the rivers of the winter rains? That's what they ask themselves. They no longer live for themselves. They live for their grandchildren. That's what parents should do. But not in the parliament. They think for themselves. your brilliant business proposal to DTI, you're going to find an over 60-year-old horny man who's going to ask you for blankets before they give you an opportunity. That's what they know best. They exchange EPWP for sex. What about a funding for your business ideas? And if you are a man, you must buy a job. I mean, you are looking for a job precisely because you ain't got no money. But you must go to Machonisa, leave your ID, get money and buy a job, then work to pay Machonisa. And I must go back to the NC. No, we're not going back. We have too much love to do that to ourselves. We have too much confidence to do that to ourselves. We build it ground up. Yes. We build it ground up. Yes. They call it renovate. We build it ground up. We are self-made. We are self-made. And we're going to sell that for what? No, there is no currency in the sun. Under the sun, there's no currency in heaven. There's no currency in any galaxy that could ever buy us out of this generational mission. We are here to stay and feeling down. So, when we vote in the SRC elections, we've got to vote in a way that sends a message about our generational mission. If they don't know that we mean business, they must not be confused about which future we want. The way we are abandoned, 22 years later, you had to take to the streets, bring the parents kicking and screaming into a table of adopting free education. It took them a protest. No, we are on our own. So when we vote in SRC elections, we also have to send a message about the type of a future that we want. Economic freedom must be very fashionable. It must be the most important idea for a youth identity. It must be so fashionable, you know, when your boyfriend comes to check you tonight, baby, what are you voting for? Before... Come tell her, man, what are you voting for? Die, man, you know, you will see those things. Because, I mean, I'm asking you, you know, what are you voting for? Man, you know, Because what kind of a future do you want to love me in? What kind of a future do you want to be in love with me in? Baby, did you vote for land before the kiss? Because in the next minute, I don't want to kiss a landless person. Who did you vote for? It must be so fashionable. Must be so fashionable. That's how the future should matter to us. That's how much it should matter to us. Because we have been abandoned. We are on our own. We have to make that future for ourselves. So don't worry. And I have to conscientize you in my conclusion about the danger that is approaching. The biggest threat to white supremacy at the moment is the economic freedom fighters. That's the biggest threat to white supremacy. Now, white people are going all over the world telling people all over the world that there's a genocide in South Africa, which is a lie, because we don't have energy to waste killing white people. We're too many. So it's going to be democratic. This question of it's going to be the rule of law. No one's going to fight. We're going to vote. We'll resolve this thing. Then, we can move on with other business. We're not going to be troubled by whites here. The negative thoughts of your neighbor only matter to you if they begin to block your access to your house. Or what your neighbor thinks of you, if they think you are a witch, it doesn't matter, as long as you've got access to school, access to the shop, access to the sports, access to your job, access to the things. So racism only matters when it closes the gates of our universities. Racism only matters when it is not wanting us to distribute the land. But there comes a day in the horizon when we have those things, and a racist will say, Kafana will say, so what? It doesn't matter. You don't move me. That's the world we want. We want the world where the attitude of a racist doesn't. We're not interested in transforming a racist. We're really busy, comrades. Stop calling us to reconciliation and what. We're busy, man. We're busy. We're so busy. There are exams. There's so much. Reconciliation of what? We're busy. We just want the land. The land. Reconcile, you don't reconcile, that's your own baby to feed Malta Bella. We want the land. So, that must be your consciousness. As they go all over the world, that's what they're telling the world. They're saying, hey, we want to destroy the country. We want to render the economy, useless and futile, and want to end it. And the role of young intellectuals like yourself is to counter that discourse. You don't sit on your hands and allow a discourse to go unintelligibly. You are the strategic intelligentsia of the economic emancipation project, to the extent to which it must redignify not only the Africans of South Africa, but of the continent and the rest of the world. You have a responsibility to be at the cutting edge of the production of those ideas. When they attacked Mama Winnie Mandela, we all took to Twitter and say, it ends here. Not in our name, not in our watch, not in our time. She's not going to be abused no more. And when they take this discourse across the world, you've got to be there to argue and defend the position of your future. So we expect the young black intelligentsia to be the ones that are leading the debate on this question of land expropriation. We expect you to be producing, to be writing in the columns of the Sunday Times and the City Press and all those papers. You must infest the entire field of intellectual discourse with the position of Asijiki, land expropriation without compensation or death. Take your place, black child. Take your place as an intellectual. Take your place because you've got the advantage and the access and the proximity to information. Share it to dignify the substance of our argument and the argument of all black people. Because nobody is going to fix the future for you. You are on your own. So tomorrow, comrades, let us send the warning. Tomorrow, let's send the signal. Let Fort Hare be red. Let us send the signal to the future. Let us send a signal so clear, so crystal clear, that they understand, Uguti, this is the end of white supremacy in South Africa. Iphelala. This next generation, it is an unapologetic, unequivocal generation in terms of the demands about its dignity. So we vote tomorrow and we vote
for economic freedom in our lifetime. Mantra! Mantra! Maibuye! Iya Africa! Maibuye! Aliyazania!